Howdy, howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be taking a look at the differences between an interrogation and an interview. As well, we will discuss some interrogation techniques that you can use to your benefit as a professional private investigator, and I will let you in on my #1 secret interviewing technique when people don't want to talk to me. Oftentimes, the terminology of interview and interrogation are used interchangeably. However, similar they may seem, there are often stark differences between the two. Before we jump into the details about interrogations, let's look at what an interview is for most cases involving a private investigator. As a professional PI, you may find yourself interviewing many people for many different reasons. For instance, if you are working an accident investigation, you may be interviewing witnesses you identify through the discovery process as you review police reports. You might also be interviewing potential witnesses as you conduct a neighborhood canvass, going door to door to see if anyone observed or heard anything, or if they have security cameras that may be videotaped any activity at the time of the accident. I have had many criminal defense cases in the past where I have conducted door-to-door interviews as well. You have to remember, no matter what type of case you are working, you should never rely on police reports or other official reports to include other PI reports to have every possible witness. In other words, folks, do not assume that all avenues of identifying all potential witnesses have been exhaustive. In fact, most times, there are always other potential witnesses to be found. A quick question for you. Have you ever had a surveillance case where you needed to interview someone? Go down in the comments below and let me know. If you do a pretext door knock or a pretext phone call to the subject or to neighbors, or where you believe the subject may be working or anywhere else, well, you are in essence conducting an interview. Treating these events as interviews and not just as another pretext will help you ensure that you get as much information as possible. You see, if you just go up to the neighbors to do a pretext door knock with the sole intention of only finding out if their neighbor, your subject, may be home, well, that is probably all the information you will garner from your endeavors. But if you go in with the intent to gather as much information about your subject as possible and have prepared open-end questions, you may glean a lot more useful data for your case. I often use the lost kitty or lost puppy routine when doing pretext door knocks. I show a picture of a cute kitty, tell them I'm looking for my daughter's kitten that got loose, and ask them if they have seen it. I follow this up with something like, man, I hate bothering everybody about this. Do you think the folks next door are home, or do you think they're probably at work right now? Just asking that and letting the neighbor talk can often get you a lot of information. Yeah, he's probably home. He stays up late. No, he gets up late. I don't usually see him until around noon. Oh, I see, I would reply. I remember those days too, and I'd give a chuckle. Now, I have conducted an effective interview that not only gave me the info I needed as to whether my subject was home, but also when he may be more active. One huge super secret interviewing skill you need to learn to master is listening more and talking less. This is done with open-ended questions and using silence as your friend. Most people hate that silent moment between thoughts and just have to jump in and say something. But we, as investigators, need to learn to harness that desire to keep the conversation flowing and let the interviewee talk as much as they want. This also allows for rapport building with the witness. The more they talk to you, the more they trust you, and the more they trust you, the more they're willing to tell you. So tell me, what other types of investigations can you think of where you need to interview people? Go down in the comments below and let me know. I would especially like to hear about those instances, like on a surveillance case, where you are conducting interviews, but it may not always seem like it's an interview at first. Let's take a good look at the other side of the coin. What exactly is an interrogation? First thing that comes to mind for most people when they think of an interrogation is the police having a witness, a defendant, or some other person of interest sitting in a small, cold room with no windows and being asked questions for hours upon hours with bright lights shining in their face. Now, while that activity would be considered an interrogation, to be sure, not all interrogations fall into that extreme of a situation. As a PI, we will probably never actually conduct an interrogation. We will conduct interviews. Now, as for the police, they will conduct interrogations and they also conduct interviews. In fact, a little known secret is that most interrogations start with an interview. Police officers use a wide variety of techniques when they conduct an interrogation as well when they are doing interviews. One of the most common techniques we have all heard about is the good cop, bad cop routine. Simply put, this is where one officer plays the hardcore role. I know you know what happened and you'd better tell me or else. while the other officer uses a softer approach to entice the subject to trust them and be more willing to talk with them versus the other cop. But can we use that as private investigators while conducting interviews? Well, I have used the good cop versus bad cop or PI versus bad PI technique from time to time, and it has worked with some level of success. Generally, this is going to work in criminal defense type cases where I know a witness has more information than he or she is willing to share for whatever reason. What I usually do is have another PI accompany me, usually one with prior law enforcement or security background, and he gets to be the bad PI. He does the door knock, he asks for the subject, and he gets right to the point of questioning them with closed-end questions. A closed-end question is one that is simply answered yes or no. I understand you were at the grocery store last night when it got robbed. Is this true? Or were you with your cousin Robert last night? It is almost accusatory in nature, but not completely. It puts belief in the interviewee's mind that we know he was there, but it doesn't necessarily accuse him directly of doing anything. I usually have the other PI ask 3 or 4 very pointed closed-end questions. Then he looks at me and says something like, "Well, that's it. Do you have any other questions?" Then he backs off a bit and I step forward and I say something like, "Thanks, Mr. Smith. I really do appreciate your time. Sorry to be a bother." We're just trying to put all of the pieces to the puzzle together and trying to talk to everyone that was there last night, even if they saw nothing, just so we can close up some loose ends in this investigation. Then I hold up something like the police report and I say something like, according to the police reports, they think you may have been there, but it isn't really clear if you were there prior to the robbery or if you just showed up after. Then that long period of silence. It will seem like forever, trust me, but it is usually less than 5 seconds. Then the interviewee might say something like, "Well, yeah, I went for some smokes, but that was way later." Then I can ask a few more clarifying questions, let him do some more talking, and start building a rapport with the witness. I will usually end it by handing the witness a business card and saying something like, "Here's one of my cards. If you can think of anything that will help us, please give me a call or shoot me a text. And if I have any more questions, can I give you a call or should I just stop by?" They will almost always provide me with a contact number at that point, and now I have a viable witness for the case. Now again, I don't use this all the time. In fact, I've used it probably less than a dozen times in my career as a PI. You have to pick and choose when it may be needed. And you know what? I have had it not work too, so there is no guarantee to be sure. Another police technique I often employ is having items of interest or evidence with me, or at least items that appear that they could be evidentiary in nature. This works best if you're conducting a sit-down interview usually. I like to have a few of those manila file folders with me. I might take the top one and I put the witness's name on the tab with a bold Sharpie so it is very obvious. Inside that, I might put some notes, often a copy of the police report and other papers. This gives the perception that you have more information than what you really do have. Sometimes I have a copy of the police report sitting on the desk, sitting there partially covered up, and after the witness sits and I know that they have seen it, I take it and I put it inside one of those folders. I might do this with photos too, but not photos that would give away too much information about the case or anything that provides personally identifying information about other individuals. This is a bit of psychological trick to be sure. If the witness believes you have a good deal of intel on the case and information about them, they are less likely to lie or try to misinform you to ensure that they do not contradict the evidence you already have. What other police interrogation or interview techniques can you think of that a professional private investigator can utilize in their day-to-day investigative interviews? Here is my secret trick I use when the witness just doesn't want to talk at all. First, a word of caution. This has to be used with extreme caution and care to ensure you're not breaking any laws doing this. If a person says they will not answer any questions without an attorney or in any way mention they have an attorney, I do not push the issue. Now really quick, let me see a show of hands if you have ever seen the TV show Columbo. If I had to say I learned anything about being a good investigator from any TV show or movie, I would have to say Columbo is the one. Columbo always ends an interview session walking away, then suddenly turning around and asking one final question. Every time I go out on an interview, I make sure I have my Columbo question ready. This is the one question, no matter what, I really want to get the answer to. As I thank the witness for their time, I hand them my card, I start to turn around, then I quickly say something like, "Oh, really quick, sorry to be a bother. What car did you take to the store last night?" or whatever the question is. It just has to be a quick question, able to garner a fast response, and you need to pull it off like an afterthought. Now, if you would like to know how to document interviews so they are usable in a court of law, then check out this video.